Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerd for No Reason podcast. I am one of your festive hosts, Mark.
And I'm the little elf on the shelf that's watching you and making sure your kids aren't being little shitheads this Christmas. I'm Elf Raven.
I hate that I have to move you every night. You are a pain in my ass.
I recently, literally, I think I was listening to, that little podcast that I listened to, the Chilluminati one. But, that it's been around for, so long, but it's only recently, started becoming, within the past, 10 years. That thing, when did it come out?
Way back in the day, me and Kelly, I think this was right after Alice was born, we got one of the early, I dare say, first generation Elf on the Shelves. We were at some craft holiday show, and Kelly came home and was like, I got this thing, and it's this cute thing, it's an elf, and we take it and we move it around, and we were new parents. Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. And after 3 weeks of it, I was like, I hate Brittany, our elf. The sheer panic when it sets in and you wake up and you hear your kid and you're like, oh my God, I forgot to move it. And you jump out of bed like you just got hit with a taser. And yeah, and you're rushing around she's like, where's Brittany? As soon as she wakes up, where's Brittany? Where's Brittany? And you're like,
oh my gosh,
literally just throw it in a cabinet and just be like, I don't know, man, maybe she's in one of the cabinets. You should open up all the cabinets and see. It's like, oh man, why is Brittany hiding in the cupboard? And I'm like, I don't know. She's crazy.
Okay, here it is. Elf on the Shelf kind of came out in the 1950s.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, we didn't get one of those.
It's insane how long that they've been around, but they recently started booming within the past 15-ish years. My grandparents never got me one, thank God. Because I can imagine them just being oh, we're gonna do all this silly little things. But I listened to so many stories where they parents just kind of fuck around and find out, where they're oh, I accidentally threw it in the oven, and the wife started preheating the oven, and then Clancy the elf was melted. Or oh my gosh, I heard one where it was literally the father was an electrician, but he put it in they had this weird little chandelier thing, and the elf on the shelf caught on fire because of the bulb, because it wasn't an LED or whatever.
Oh,
and so it's ass burnt off. But yeah, Elf on the Shelf is weird concept. Is yours a good Elf on the Shelf, or is it a bad Elf on the Shelf where it's ooh, it was making a mess in the kitchen?
No, our elf doesn't do that because it knows better.
I'll beat that little elf's ass.
The most extreme that our elf gets usually is it shows up on December 1st, which is Alice's birthday, and it will write happy birthday on the kid's mirror in the bathroom in shaving cream.
Cute.
And then other than that, it doesn't really do much. I think we've moved it 3 times this year, and Amy may have asked. She hasn't said anything to me about it, but Kelly says she's mentioned something to her about it, but she hasn't been hey, Dad, I don't know why Brittany hasn't been moving. I don't know, because we're kind of at that weird point in the whole raising a child process, because when Alice was 10, she was like, it's cool. Santa Claus, elves, whatever, I'm over it. And our big golden rule was, all right, well, don't ruin the magic for your sister.
Right.
And Amy's kind of at that age where I probably won't be this year, but next year she'll be like, all right, I'm over it. It's cool. You know?
What's up, guys? I knew it. You guys haven't been fooling me for years. Ha 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 ha.
You know what? That's probably not far from it. I'd never believed in it. That's nonsense.
Right. I don't remember at what age I stopped believing in, like, the whole Santa thing. I feel like it wasn't, like, I don't know, but, like, I just never, like, said anything to my grandparents, like, ever. And so they definitely would still write from Santa. Like, I was in, like, high school. My grandparents would continue to write it, and I was like, all right, whatever. I like them to have their own little fun. And they're like, hee hee hee. Look at what Santa left you. Oh. But I get that.
So let me tell you about this week, because I got to go eat lunch with my father this week, and it was super fun because we don't really get to do too much stuff where it's just me and him. And
Yeah.
you know, it's always fun when I get to hang out with my dad. But he's just kind of like very hilariously has turned into a grumpy old man, and I just cannot get over it. We went to eat lunch, and we were trying to figure out where to go. And I said, hey, man, like, what do you want to eat? And it's like trying to argue with the kids where it's just like, oh, I don't know. What do you have around here? And I'm like, all right, well, listen, we got Mexican, we got burgers, we got, pizza. We got pretty much anything within a short drive. So what do you want to do? And he said something about Mexican, and I said, okay, cool. What kind of Mexican do you want? Because we have standard Tex-Mex.
Bro, that's like where you lost him. You know that.
I know. I said, we have standard Tex-Mex where like a number 2 is the Speedy Gonzales. You know what you're going to get when you walk in there. Plus, it's a place where me and him have been plenty of times. It's exactly like the place that's like right next to his house. And I said, or if you want real good Mexican food, we can go across town to this other place, shout out Luis's. I was like, but we're going to have to deal with like a language barrier. But the food's going to be on. No, I ain't going to do that.
There it is.
I was like, all right. So we went and got regular Tex-Mex. And when we sat down, we didn't even go to like the normal regular Tex-Mex place. This was like a more Caucasian version of that. Everyone in the back was clearly Mexican. The waiters were not. Okay, and this waiter comes out, and he was a nice dude. You know, he's just a regular old dude. We get some chips. The chips are all like super thin and kind of crunched up, and he was like, let me get another bag of chips. You can't put any sauce on these chips. And I'm like, oh God, he sounds like Roy. And then we order our food, it comes out, and this man, I don't understand why he's always done this, but then he starts looking for the salt shaker, has not taken a bite one of his food, and he's like, I need salt. I'm like, try your food. No, I need salt. I don't understand. Where's the salt shaker? So just so happened a waiter come walking by, and I see this man like agitated that he does not have a salt shaker. Like,
of course.
Like Amy, when she can't get a story out, it just clicked in my brain. A whole bunch of things just fell into place.
Love that for you.
And he was like, hey, can I get some salt and pepper? I was like, yeah, sure. He brings out a little ramekin with little salt and pepper packets in it.
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't know why in the hell they do this. I was like, probably since COVID they do it. Oh, but listen. I'm like, ugh. And I'm just kind of just chuckling to myself like, dude, this is not the fight you need to be having. And and then we went kind of like thrift shopping, I guess is the best way to put it. Because I'm looking for like furniture around my house to be like, hey, I just need to fill out the house basically.
Yeah.
We went one place, and right next to where we were was like a place that sells like boats and, things like that. And he was like, oh, I got to take you in here. We went in there, and I love when my dad is in his environment, because we walked around looking at a whole showroom full of boats, and this man just could not have been happier. And it just tickled the hell out of me just watching him, because I'm like, this is clearly what it's like when I drag him to an electronics store, and I'm like, look at this. This is cool. This does this, this, and this, and this. And he's explaining to me boats. He's like, look at this thing, man. This thing don't even have no propeller on it for the motor. It's all jet powered. And he was he loved it. He was having such a good time. So
Cute. I love that.
yeah. That was my adventure with my father, and it was super fun.
Very nice. We're gonna be having our own little adventures with your dad in like a week. We'll be there. Yeehaw!
I cannot wait.
Same. We are so ready for it, and we're bringing all the boys.
Oh yeah, he's gonna
All three of them little shitheads, and your dad's gonna be like, "Don't let the dog on the damn pool liner." Chris, every single year, every time, and then Chris is always like, "Dad, you know he doesn't like water." Blah 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 blah. It'll be great. I can't wait for a whole almost a week of it.
I just love the fact that my dad cannot pronounce Sasha's name for nothing.
What, Sycamore? She's such a good girl.
Yes, Sasquatch is so good.
I can't believe that you've had her for so long at this point.
Yeah. He comes over and
oh my God.
And what's so funny is anytime we get company come over, this dog completely loses her shit for about 2 or 3 minutes, and my dad is just like, God damn it, calm down. And he's just so frustrated. I'm like, dude, just pet her, let her get it out of her system, and she'll be fine. She wants attention. She wants to be in your lap, licking your face right now. It's fine. Don't be mad at her, because she's a dog,
Right.
I was like, and she lives here.
You just gotta look at him and be like, this is like the new hyper version of Amy. Just give her just enough attention, and then at some point she'll be like, all right, that was chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the boys do the same thing whenever they come over. And he's like, it's so funny, though. Just I guess he's so, used to the way that these little idiots are, because, anytime we, leave and then come back with them, the boys are like, they're still here, mudslide. God bless his little soul. It's like he forgets every single time. So then it's like he has to relearn, oh my God, there's an intruder in the house. Help. Meanwhile, Kavic's just like, oh, hey, what's up? What's going on, Pop? I'm so glad you're still here. Can I get a few pets and sniff you around? It's just a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Well, I cannot wait for you guys to get here next week. I'm so excited.
Samey.
It's going to be super fun.
Yeah.
Plus, your Christmas presents should be in by then, and I can't wait to give you your Christmas presents.
Oh, goodness.
Especially yours. I really hope I'm not talking it up too much, but I saw this thing I don't know, probably 3 months ago, and I immediately thought to myself, I was like, that is a great gift for Raven. So I really hope that that you like it.
Ooh.
And I got Chris something too, and I really hope that he likes it. And yeah, not to toot my own horn, because I really hope you get it and you're just not like, yep, that's the thing, all right.
I'm sure I'll love it. If you have to explain, it'd be so funny if I just looked at it and I was like, I don't get it. I think it would be so much funnier if you had to explain. That's always the worst thing ever.
If you don't get it, I am absolutely going to take it back. I'm going to take it back and I'm going to give it to one of the girls. Okay? Because there's absolutely no way on this on Beyonce's Earth that you're gonna look at and be like, I don't understand.
All right, perfect. That's okay. I'm sure I'll love it, and I'm sure Chris will love whatever gobbity goop you got him. Little gobbity goop. We think that you'll like what we got you too.
Cool.
It's gonna be exciting. So, do you want to go ahead and talk about whatever this quantum computer shit is?
I totally want to talk about this because this is like the wildest thing that I think has come out this week as far compared to like all the other crazy news that's happening. And to be fair, I have watched videos and read articles, and I still don't fully understand. And what we're talking about here, folks, is the Google Willow quantum computer chip. And what makes this thing so special is they performed a benchmark with this quantum computer chip, and supposedly it takes one of today's current like one of the fastest supercomputers 10 septillion years. That's 10 with 25 zeros behind it. All right. That's a lot of years, older than the Earth is, and it performed it in under 5 minutes. And that is so ludicrously dumb fast that I'm like, this unlocks a whole new level of just processing power. And the best way I can describe it, like, well, if it takes so long, how do we know that it got the right answer? Well, look at it like this. If you know that you can make a cake and it takes you an hour to mix the ingredients and bake it, and then you have a cake that you can pull out and eat it, your end result is the cake. And we know what the end result is supposed to be. Okay?
Okay.
But instead of it taking you an hour, it takes you 5 seconds. So that's how fast, like a loose comparison of like what we're looking at. Like, how do we know that what it did was right? Well, we can verify what the end result is going to be. So.
But is that cake going to taste good? A 5-second cake?
Apparently, this thing has some way to check quantumly, like error checking, where it can exponential quantum error correction is so obscenely low. I don't exactly understand, but apparently it can correct itself almost instantaneously, or account for its failures. So, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm trying to I've been trying to figure out, because it's talking about like, oh, we have these qubits and we do this and we have, normal processor works on ones and zeros, and this only works on and this can work on like a percentage of a 1 or a percentage of a 0. And I'm like, I don't know what none of that means. But all I'm thinking to myself is like, as far as processing power, if we have this kind of processing power, then things like rendering video or computer graphics or things like, I'm thinking dumb industry stuff. I'm not thinking of like, oh, we're going to send people to Mars. Nope. I'm thinking of like a Pixar movie should take like 3 weeks to make now. Because we don't have to send, we could say, cool, I'm working on the scene. I'm going to render it in almost no time and get instant feedback, So it's a thing where they're saying, oh, it takes us a day to render a frame of film fully, like something that you would see on the screen. It takes a day for a frame, and there's 30 frames in a second. And they send it to this big building in Pixar somewhere that is just nothing but just cooled computer server racks just processing power, just doing stuff. And I could just picture that instantly giving, going bloop, okay, here's what your thing looks like now. And then you could correct it. Like, it's such a wild concept for me, that much processing power. And then that's not even talking about AI, like we're at the beginning
Right.
of Skynet.
It's crazy
So,
out here.
so strap in.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I make sure that I thank ChatGPT when I use it. I say, hey, ChatGPT, can you do
Yeah.
this dumb thing for me? And they go, sure, here you go. And I say, thank you, ChatGPT. I do appreciate the things that you do.
Yeah. That's another thing in that podcast that like they'll like be looking up stuff, and because they do like a little mini-sode every week where they just find like little news articles, and they're always like, yeah, humanity just treats all these like little AI generators like shit, like absolute dog shit, and then they become somehow depressed or like so needy and reliant and stuff like that. It's like at some point this shit could just take over the world, and it could take over humanity in its own weird little way. We've all seen iRobot. It's crazy. Or what's the other one? The androids counting sheep, something, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't-
Do robots dream of electric sleep? The
Yeah,
sheep?
yeah.
Yes.
I read that book, and I was like, this stresses me out. You gotta be nice to the little robots. Those like little, I think they're in like really big cities, but the little robots that can take food from like restaurants and like take it to people's houses. Like,
Oh,
people are
yeah.
mean to them, and I'm like, don't kick them. Be nice to them. They're just sweet little baby angels that don't understand anything. They just know take food to location and come back to restaurant.
Yep. I, for one, look forward to our robot overlords. As long as they can do like household chores,
Bro, for real.
like really and truly, I will pay just about any amount of money it costs to be like, okay, listen, robot friend, that I will call Judy or Bob, depending. But I want these dishes clean. I want these clothes folded, vacuum. Like, I want this house spotless. And I think that was just, yes, here's all of my money.
You gotta put all your money into like a smart house somehow. Crazy. That's insane to think about. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I hope I don't live in a generation of that, because I'm just gonna be like, this is giving me anxiety. Everything here is too much smarter than me. But that's fine. Maybe at that point I'll just like be living in the wilderness like a Yeti or some shit. Don't mind me. I'm just Bigfoot my life away. She's a mystery now. We don't know where she went.
I love that should the robots take over, there's going to be people who be like, nope, I got to go move to the country.
Yep, we're gonna make a little compound, and we're just living off the land.
I just want to be that. I would just want to be that old grandpa who's like, nah, I don't need nobody to clean my stuff. Just leave me alone. And then they get me one, and then like over the course of the months, I'm like, oh no, I'm sitting here hanging out with Judy. We're sitting here watching TV. It's great, man. She keeps my house clean. I love her.
Oh, you mean your dad? Yeah, you want to become your dad. 100%.
She makes food, and that's great. I put salt on it and everything.
She even knows how to season it. I just got to fill the shit up. I don't even know. That would be kind of cool, though. Something that, like, you're working all day, you come home, and, like, in the morning you said, hey, girl, make a meatloaf and some mashed potatoes with a little gravy and roasted broccoli. And you come home, and she's like, here you go. You're just like, wow, I'm just glad I didn't have to fucking do this. And somehow it's like, healthy.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's more the simple things. Like it's just the regular day to day minutia of just living. Where it's like, I wash my clothes, and then like when I put them in the dryer, then it's like, oh well, now I go do other stuff because I'm not going to sit there and just wait for it to dry, and that's not going to be the only thing I do, and then I forget that they're in there, you know, and then or like dishes or just like little things that I would just love to have someone just dedicated to that task
Fair enough.
that I just wouldn't have to worry about.
Dude, the way that our clothes just like sit either on the couch or on our dining table for an unsettling amount of time because I don't got time for that shit. That's a lot of sit down work. Sorry, man. I would love for a little robot to just be like, here, I'm going to suck it from the dryer and somehow it perfectly goes in your closet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. I'll take that to the compound.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
You wouldn't be what I get to see you pulling up to the compound now and be like, hey guys, I got us a Judy robot, and they'd be like, no, traitor.
Get the fuck out! And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'll go make my own little compound, but it's just me and this one robot. Alrighty. You ready to Christmas it up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So go ahead. No, hit the intro.
I was no, I was going to like grab my phone and it totally just did like a whole 360 and fell out of my hand. I was like, oh, well, never mind. I guess I'm out. Goodbye. Hello everybody. We will be talking the one, the only. It's not actually the one and the only because they've made 3 of these. It's the Santa Claus, but not just the Santa ho ho ho. It's the Santa Claus with an E. The ever-loving 1994 movie classic that good old, why am I blanking on his name? Jesus.
It's Tim Allen.
I kept being like, it's Tim, and then I wanted to say Robinson, and I was like, I know that's not that. That'd be
it's Tim the Toolman Taylor.
That's what I was like thinking in my head, and I'm like, no, stop it. Oh, good old Tim Allen. But yeah. Mark.
Yes.
Did you say that? I know last week you were like, I don't think I've ever watched this movie all the way through. Have you watched the Santa Claus all the way through before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank God.
I think I might have even had this on VHS.
Nice.
Kids, what a VHS cassette tape is this big blocky square thing that had magnetic tape in it. And you would put movies on there and put them in this big contraption that read this stuff and converted this magnetic signal into a video signal. And we call those VHS tapes. But no, this was for sure a movie that I watched many times younger. I don't think I've seen this since at least I graduated high school.
Jeez, how? This is crazy nonsense. I feel like I watch this every year.
See, I'm not really that much of a Christmas movie person.
You like the Hallmark ones.
I really just got into those last year for the podcast because like they were so dumb, especially whatever that Australian one we saw was. Like I think about that one way more than I probably should because it was so absurd. What was it? Christmas Down Under? Is that what it was? I'll have to look.
I think that's about right.
It was insanity. But no, like I'm just not that much of a Christmas movie person. And when I watch these movies for the show, I'm like, you know what? It's not really that bad. But then as soon as Christmas season ends, I'm like, there's no need for me to watch a Santa Claus in May,
That's fair.
But no, this movie is really good, and you can definitely tell that this is Tim Allen at his peak. And I guess if I really had any kind of complaint with it, is that it seems this movie just moves along like super fast. Um, Watching it this time, and I guess I never clocked this when I was younger, but it makes it seem like in the movie it seems like a week has passed, but in reality, the timeline of this movie is an entire year. It's
Yeah.
like it's Christmas, Santa dies, and then it's next Christmas, and they're delivering presents. But all that aside, the effects are great for the time. They're not too. They don't age too badly, and the story is kind of solid. And we'll kind of break that down a little bit, and maybe it's a 90s thing, but it seems like the divorce and the whole step parent thing and the custody and all that just kind of seems like a little heavy for a movie about a dude being Santa. So that's probably my biggest kind of gripe with it. But other than that, overall it's a fun movie. Raven, what'd you think of it?
I understand where you're coming on the whole like divorce thing, and we can totally like touch on like that when we break it down. But like this is one of the peak holiday movies that like it's very iconic. It's very much something that like you can talk about, and almost everyone in the room has been like, "Oh yeah, I've seen of it." If they haven't seen it, then they've at least heard of it. And if they haven't, why are they living under a rock? And they came out like for one day of the year to have a random conversation with someone that's never seen this movie. I love watching it. I think it's just like a nice little wholesome Christmas movie. And even though it's like, oh my God, Tim Allen killed Santa Claus, like that's crazy. But like, I love the little elves. I love the look of the reindeer in the movie. I love Bernard. My God. That was like my childhood crush growing
I
up.
was just about to ask.
100%. He was such a little cutie pie. But yeah, I will probably continue to watch this movie for almost every single year until who knows when the robots take over. And they're like,
Hooray.
hey guys, no more movies. I'm sorry. But yeah. So let's break it down into the chimney. That
Okay.
was dumb. Get down into the chimney of it all. Get down into the sack of it all.
Oh yeah, let's get into that sack. So I firmly believe that my phone is listening to me because I can't remember who I was talking to about this movie a couple days ago. But I'll be daggone if yesterday I was scrolling through TikTok like I'm one to do, and I came across this clip, and I want to shout out who it is, so that way, the Confused Breakfast podcast posted a video, and they pointed out this great conspiracy theory that Tim Allen did not accidentally kill Santa Claus.
Okay.
It was all a setup by the current Santa Claus, so him and Mrs. Claus could retire and go hang out in Miami. But based upon the fact that, like, if you watch this movie and you said you've seen it a bunch, did you notice that throughout the movie, kids that are in with the general population some of them are elves. They're like spies.
Yeah.
So apparently they have been tracking Tim Allen's character. And they were like, nope, this is the guy. We're going to make him the Santa Claus. We're going to make him believe and turn him into a better person. And that's the reason, one, after Santa Claus, quote unquote, dies, he waves. He does the little wave, and that's when he disappears, and him and Mrs. Claus go retire somewhere. But none of the elves are like shocked when this dude shows up. No one's shocked. No one's like alarmed that this strange man shows up. No, it's all been planned.
Interesting. I really like that theory, actually, because Chris and I were totally talking about it. Because, obviously the second movie is like he has to find a Mrs. Claus. And so we were like, okay, where was the original Mrs. Claus of the dude that fell off his fucking roof? Does she just die? And then we made a whole joke that it was actually all the glitter that was on all of these little elves' faces that she basically like got
She
Thanos
just
snapped.
exploded.
And she was over there to Bernard and was like, I don't feel so good, Bernard.
she
uh,
she got Thanos snapped.
yeah, totally.
That was Santa Claus's last act. He waved and then snapped his fingers, and Mrs. Claus just turned to dust.
He said, bitch, get out of there. We're done. We're over
I
it.
love it.
Because, like, it's crazy to think about, like, because I totally asked Chris, I was like, Max grows up. Max?
Oh,
Is that the kid's name?
kid?
Charlie.
Charlie.
Who am I talking about?
I have
I'm on-
no idea.
You know me. I'm on my goofy movie era. Anyways. Thanks, Maxie. But Charlie, like, grows up throughout the movies, so it's like, does Tim Allen, as the Santa Claus, does he age, or does he stay the same age, but just because, you know, he looks like Santa Claus, it's not like you can really tell that he, like, becomes old in a way, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So is it like, would he stay Santa Claus for so long that he watches his son and his ex-wife die at some point? Or is it like, at some point they go, okay, I've been doing this for like 40 years. I'm going to let someone take over the reins. There's a lot to like really think into this whole Santa Claus craziness.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and let's get into it, because I want to talk about this kind of opening scene where we're at the office party, because this shit was wild. Like, there's a lot of stuff like non-Santa Claus related in this movie that I feel is so unhinged that I want to talk about that more than just Tim Allen becoming Santa Claus. Because all the Tim Allen Santa Claus stuff is kind of joyful and whimsy, while all the other stuff, I'm like, what in the world are we doing? And that kind of starts with this office party at the get-go, because when Tim Allen, not only does he take the mic from this lady who, and then just be like, yes, it was my idea or whatever. In retrospect, not a good look. She's like, yes, cool, whatever. But then he says something to the effect of like, the secretary.
The secretary. Our families are waiting back home. That's why Johnson's secretary is sitting in his lap right now.
Right.
And then it pans over and you're like, oh.
And he's like giving the thumbs up like, yes, I'm totally boning my secretary.
Right.
And I'm like, what in the world? It's like, is everyone just cool with this? So, yeah.
The 90s were crazy.
Man, the 90s were absolutely bonkers. In the 80s at holiday parties, like terrorists were taking over office buildings. And in the 90s, I guess we're just like open secret, like, hey, I'm cheating on my wife.
Right.
So.
Yeah. The next scene where it cuts to him like in the car, driving around, being like, "Oh my God, the traffic! I'm so sorry. This lady's over here honking at me, being total bitch. Oh, there's a giant pileup." Would you ever do something like that? I just gotta know.
Not in that instance. Not when I'm going to pick up my kid. You know, like that's. I guess I could kind of understand that in some circumstances, but not when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm clearly running late to pick up my kid.
Like,
because
it's
I was
clearly
at a party.
my fault. Yeah, it's
right.
my fault that I'm late, and now I gotta be like, oh shit, I'm sorry. It's all these other external things that I cannot control. Something like that. I feel like I would do something like that. I definitely have. I'm not even gonna lie.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've done it too. Like if I've just kind of, you know, lollygagged around and I'm supposed to, not that I'm like supposed to be somewhere at a certain time, but like, you know, a friend is having a get together that's going on for a couple hours, and then I just, you know, I'm like, all right, I'll just kind of show up whenever. And then I show up quote unquote late to a party that's going on for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm like, oh yeah, ran into traffic. You know what I'm saying? Hit every red light on the way here. that. But then that's not like someone specific is waiting on me to get to a place before we can do something. Like him going to pick up his kid. Like that, I don't know. But then right after that, the he does something like that in the opening scene, and it leads us to believe like, oh, he is just an out and out just crappy parent.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he doesn't really seem to be a crappy parent. And then that's kind of like where there's this running thing where it's like he's not really neglectful. He just kind of like he's clearly one of those parents, and you see this a lot in older movies where he is a dad that just does not know what to do with his kids because the mom handles all the nurturing and all of the other stuff while he goes to the office and makes the money that supports the family.
Yeah.
And this is part of that trope back in the day where it's like, oh, you leave a dad with a baby and he's just a buffoon. This is like that same person 5 or 6 years later when that kid is 6 years old now and the parents are divorced and he's like, so do I just give you M&Ms and turn on the TV? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, homie was like, oh, it takes 4 hours to cook a turkey or like whatever. And then it's just like on fire. And Charlie's just like, yo, those flames were scary, Dad. And he's just like, it's ready. Anyways, let's go out to eat. I love that
the
scene.
single dad meal at Denny's.
It's so good. And you just see so many, like, just one dad and, like, a kid or two around a bunch of tables, and you're like, damn.
Right.
I love that they go to Denny's. Now you could probably go to Waffle House.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, this was in Detroit, so so they don't have Waffle Houses that far north.
R.I.P. guys, sorry.
So they never say specifically where this movie takes place.
Yeah.
The only reason I clocked it is Detroit because when they get the sleigh, he passes by a cop or somebody, I think, and he goes, "Hey, if I follow this road will I get to the I-96 or something like that?" And I was like, I-96, where's that? Because this is what I do when I watch movies for the show. I go down rabbit holes. So I looked it up, and basically it's an interstate that comes out of Detroit. So.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, the more you know.
Yeah. But Tim Allen is from Detroit, so, that makes sense.
Oh, okay. So, he's totally over there just, like, riffing off his own life because, I feel like Tim Allen would definitely he definitely gives off the, like, stand-up comedian type guy in, like, anything he does. That's very much, like, the trope of Tim Allen when you watch him in, like, this movie, Home Improvement, like, anything like that. He's easy to just, like, here we go, I'm going to spit out something funny, and it's going to somehow land every single time. It's what it feels like.
Yeah. And then if that doesn't work, then I'm going to grunt.
I love it.
So then we get to the Christmas Eve part, and this kind of feeds into the conspiracy theory that the Santa Claus was ready to retire because this Santa was noisy as hell. And I don't think that a man who had been doing this for as long as Santa has supposedly been doing this, that he would just be up there just tromping it and just up there just river dancing on this roof, waking everybody up.
That's fair. Yeah. Loud ass Santa. Okay.
And I was kind of shocked, like after Santa died, quote unquote, this kid runs out and he's just like, "Oh snap, you killed Santa? Let's go hop in the sleigh. I'm going to climb up this ladder."
Right.
I'm going to climb up this ladder, hop in this sleigh, like, "Oh man, look at all this cool stuff that's in this sleigh." And
Charlie was about it.
He was down to clown and was just ready to go.
I would have been an anxious little wreck. I would have been like, holy shit, there's a bunch of animals on the roof.
Right.
And then, like,
we got to call the cops.
Right? Like, imagine being a child and being like, I'm going to climb up on this 2-story roof on this crazy little ladder while my dad's out here in his underwear and just killed Santa. I would have totally been like, you got this? I'm not telling anyone at school that you ruined Christmas. Goodbye. Mom, can you come pick me up? Dad just killed Santa.
And whenever, like, after we get done with this evening and Charlie shows back up to his mom's house and they're talking, he's like, oh yeah, we went to North Pole, we did all this fun stuff. And Tim Allen's like, no, that was clearly like a fever dream. Like, he's still trying to wrap his head around this crazy evening that he had. But in looking at this from the other two adults' perspective, they're actually not completely in the wrong, but Neil is just a complete asshole. He is. I feel like Judge Reinhold absolutely played this dude perfectly, because he's not entirely wrong, but he's also not right either.
Right. Just because you're a psychiatrist doesn't mean that you should, like, analyze the way that, like, children see the magic of Christmas. Let's be real, man.
Right.
Like, kids play make-believe and shit like that. Let them do it.
Right. But at the same time, if your wife's ex-husband is like, oh yes, I'm Santa Claus, you're like, no, you are clearly off your rocker. We probably, like, need to take a little bit of drastic action here.
Well, to be fair, Scott Calvin the whole time was like, no, Charlie, shut the fuck up. I didn't say that shit. He's just being crazy. I make toys. Like, the whole, like, presentation in class where he's like, I want Dad to go up first. Fuck you, Neil. And then Scott's up there and Charlie's literally like, this is my dad, Scott Calvin, and he's Santa, and he makes toys, and blah, 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 blah. And, like, the kids are all like, this little nerd believes in Santa, which is fucked up that all these kids are over here like, yeah, okay, Santa. But yeah, like, when it gets to the point, I don't know, because it's like when he gets to the point that he's, like, playing Santa in his bedroom, and, like, a whole bunch of other things, I just looked at Chris and was like, so they can't just believe that their kid's now autistic, like his autism's just coming out. Like, this is just his main focus. This is his hyperfixation. We're cool. But I think it's like once the, like, appearance starts to change and then they're like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? You're really, like, leaning into this to make him like you. That's when it starts to get a little, like, uncomfortable and scary for the parents, and it's super valid.
Yeah.
We should totally talk about them actually, like, going to the North Pole, though. Because the North Pole was so sick. So I love, they're flying around, they're doing the thing, throwing out presents. There was just a dog in the back, like, how did you pull that out of a sack? The elves didn't make that. Question mark, question mark, question mark. But anyways, then they pull up, the reindeer just, like, trot on off, and then they're like, what the hell? And freezing temperatures, and your kid's over there, like, no mittens, no hat, you're over there just like, I'm wearing this weird mall Santa suit. What's happening here? I don't know what's happening. And then this little kid comes out, and he thinks he's so fucking cool. And he's like, whoa, watch this. It's the fucking North Pole. And he puts in the little, like, number, and then they start going down. At what point does Tim Allen not go, yo, this is real? This isn't just like some weird, crazy delusion that I'm having. This stuff is insane. Because I'm sure he wasn't drinking while having young Charlie with him at
No.
Denny's. He was having that decaf coffee. But the workshop, magical. I would
Yeah.
want to spend probably a month in there just looking at everything. I feel like there would be new, amazing things to just like see every single time you like turn a corner. Also, the glitter, God, that's what I want to live in. I just want to live in a world where it's okay that I can be covered in glitter and nobody's going to be like, hey, what's going on? Why's your face and like everything about you just completely coated in sparkles? It's totally normal. That's what I want.
Dude, as the father of two daughters, glitter is the absolute worst. Um,
Oh, I know.
we had a build your own snow globe kit that
Ooh.
we made, and it fell apart, broke, however you want to say it, uh,
No.
in the girls' bathroom. And when I tell you that I walked in there for literal years and still saw glitter on the floor, no matter how many times we cleaned everything. Just, yeah. And it was at that moment that I banned glitter from the house. And it worked pretty good until one Christmas a couple years back, Kelly bought glitter to make Christmas cards with. And I said, "What in the world are you doing?" And she goes, "No, it's okay. I'll be careful." And I said, "I'm sure you will, but this is not going to end good." And then I was running back and forth and like going out to the backyard doing something. And when I came back in one time, she's just sitting there with this defeated look on her face. And I said, "What happened?"
No.
"Well, I was doing something and I spilt glitter." And I was like, "I know you did." And so she was like, "It's all over me and I don't know what to do." I said, "You might as well just stand up now, because there's nothing you're going to do that's going to fix this situation. Like, you've already just, like, it's cool. I'm not going to say I told you so, but go get the vacuum and clean it up the best you can."
I'd be fine with it. It's basically a sparklier version of dog hair. And I obviously live
Yeah.
in dog hair, so whatever. I'd be cool with it. But I understand, like, glitter is like a crazy thing to have to like clean up. And that's why those little elves are all covered in it, because they just live the life, Mark. They're living the dream. If you're
We
like
got to talk
a
about
child.
uh Judy,
God,
the elf.
she's so
I
adorable.
I
She's
don't
so
know
cute.
how one child can be so adorable.
Right? They found the perfect little girl, and she literally like, he's like, Judy. She's like, Santa. I love her. She's just, she's a sassy little thing. I love the, or the part where like, they're like talking and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I don't know how old you are, but she like, because, these kids are all like, oh, I'm older than, like, I've got pairs of shoes older than you, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, thanks, but I'm seeing someone in wrapping. And that cracked me up. Because it's just
Yeah.
like, yo, homegirl really thought the new Santa's over here really trying to hit on her. I love that for him.
And what's so wild about this actress is that she did a few things when she was younger, and then she stopped acting in 1999, and her only credit past 1999 is the Santa Clauses that came out in 2023. She did not have an IMDb credit for 23 years.
What? That's crazy.
It is.
Dang.
Oh. So yeah. I also want to talk about them damn puppets that
Yeah.
they were horrible looking, But they were hilarious when he was changing and they scream. And like, even as a kid, I laughed myself to the point of tears. I completely forgot about that when I was watching this movie.
I have an irrational fear of puppets and like dolls and stuff. So as soon as they walk in there, I was like, mm-mm. That room is cursed. It is haunted. Everything about it is bad, except for that sleigh bed. It is so beautiful and looks
Hold on.
so comfortable.
Hold on.
What?
We have derailed this entire podcast now.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So your fear of puppets, is this just like weird, freaky puppets like that? Or does this extend to like Kermit the Frog and Sesame Street and the Muppets?
Bro, I don't like them. I definitely like grew up watching them, but now that I look at them, I'm like, ugh, they make me uncomfortable. But like,
holy shit.
dude, do you not remember when you went to the Puppet Museum in Atlanta and you were like telling me about it and you sent me like a picture or that random little TikTok you made on Alice's thing? And I was like, oh, like
Oh, that's insane.
I have such a weird little irrational fear of like they look unsettling to me. Like if I saw them in person, I'd be like, you better get that thing out of my face.
Holy crap. I feel like I want to show you, like, not in a mean-spirited way, but I would really want you to see this movie called Meet the Feebles.
Ew, no.
It's like Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame. It's like his second movie. And it's like after his first movie made it, like, recouped its first film's a minimal budget, and he started like to have some income and could show people like, hey, here's the kind of stuff I do. They were like, cool, here's more money for this crazy Muppet movie that you have where all the Muppets are just having sex and doing cocaine.
Oh, like Avenue Q? I watched that.
Way worse than that.
Dude, I watched that play with my aunt here in Knoxville when I was in like middle school. And my aunt to this day is like, I don't think I took you to that. I'm like, bitch, you did. And that's insane.
That's so weird that she like trauma blocked that out of her brain. Like,
For real.
There's no,
I think I was in like 8th grade and she just like told my mom like, yeah, there's like some little like, I don't know. It was probably,
it's puppets. It's
yeah.
cool.
And I didn't even like puppets then. And we just watched it and I was like, she didn't give me any heads up on what the hell we were going to watch. And I was just like, I don't know what's fucking happening here. But, like, no, movies that I grew up watching, like, I definitely watched probably all of the Muppet movies growing up. My grandparents had, like, The Muppet Show, and, like, it made me uncomfortable to watch. But, like, I definitely, like, watch the stuff. I don't mind if it's, like, a stuffed animal of, like, Kermit, because we definitely have like a few little Christmas Muppets like growing up, and I was like, these are cool. You can't stick your hand and they don't move and stuff. But yeah, no, I hate puppets. I also don't like mascots for like very similar reasons. I don't like the way they look. They're scary. Yeah. Do you remember when we watched Labyrinth? The Jim Henson's Labyrinth with David Bowie? Dude, those puppets? There's literally like one scene in that movie that I can never watch because it makes me so uncomfortable. So yeah, the more you know. If you ever buy me a puppet, I'm gonna burn it. But the same thing with like dolls, like not Barbies or like Bratz, but like those porcelain dolls. Ugh, they're so creepy, and I don't like them. One time, my great grandmother gave me one, and I was like scared of it, but like I didn't know what to do with it. I think she just like sent it to me in the mail for like Christmas or my birthday, and at some point, she like fell. And like her arm or her leg broke off, and I was so fucking scared. I literally put her in a box, shoved her in my closet, and was like, don't think about her, don't think about her. And I was like so convinced that it was like somehow going to come alive and absolutely ruin my life. Thank you.
Wow.
Yep. The more you
Well,
know about my irrational fears. Thank you.
well, I guess if I ever want to watch that movie, I'm gonna have to bring someone else on to.
You sure will. Oh my God.
Holy shit!
It'd probably scare it. I'd just sit there the whole time and be like, oh my God, I think I'm going to
I
die.
will definitely say in Meet the Feebles, there's actually parts of that movie that you cannot unsee. It is insanity. Uh,
Ugh.
like it starts off kind of semi normal, and then it goes off the rails, and you're just like, what in the hell am I watching? All right.
Fair enough.
Where the hell are we at? We got sidetracked by this. Okay.
Oh, we were in the bedroom. Anyways,
Yeah.
that
So
sleigh bed, ugh, looks so comfy. Chris and I were looking up sleigh beds last night just to be, or like when we were watching it, and just being like, we want one of those. That thing looks so comfortable. Just pile it up with pillows and just, oof, cushion. Anyways, continue on.
uh, I like when we get back to the quote unquote normal world, the real world, and he starts putting on all this weight. And this is another thing where it seems like it's happening so fast, where it seems like it's happening over like the course of a week, because we don't get any summertime scenes in this movie. You know, it's like he shows back up to work and he's 30 pounds heavier, and everyone's like, oh my God, look at him. You know, because he presumably just got so fat overnight, you know, and then he eats all that food in the board meeting, which is super funny to me. But then it's like the next day he wakes up and he's got a gray beard and he's another 50 pounds heavier and his hair's all done grown out. And yeah.
Yeah. Right? Like, the fact that his coworkers literally were like, oh my God. And his boss was like, dude, what the fuck happened to you? Like,
Right.
get your shit together. And it's so weird that he was like, you know, very, like, he's like, oh, the holidays. And yeah, Charlie, I believe in Santa. And then, like, that whole pitch came through and he's like going ballistic. He's like, Santa wouldn't do that. And these elves, they're not holly jolly. They look like little gnomes and blah, blah, blah. Like, where'd that come from?
Right. We're not giving Santa a damn tank.
Right. But yeah, no, if I gain like 45 pounds in a week, which is what he said, I would be dropping work and being like, hey, scientist, doctors, please. This ain't right. I got a tumor in me. Like, there's no explanation. And everyone's
Right.
just like, that's crazy. Fix yourself.
Yeah. I put in my notes here because this was also about the time, like, I think they do like the custody thing in the movie, and Neil is just being kind of stuck up, kind of like what we touched on before. And I put in my notes, like, Neil is the kind of guy who sucks all the fun out of a room at every party he goes to.
Yeah.
Like, he walks in and everyone's having a good time, and then he says something and everyone's like,
This guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then, you know, you go back to talking, and then he says something again and just sucks all the fun out of it again. Very much like Colin Robinson.
Yeah. He's definitely an energy vampire. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And that's why he's a therapist. That's totally a Scott Calvin joke. Thank you. If he knew what an energy vampire was, man, oh man, he would have been slamming down on Neil. Anyways, yeah, he is not my kind of person. It's so interesting that it's like, oh, Scott's like, you know, he puts on a little show and he's got like this personality. And then she's like, okay, we're divorced. I found this new guy. And he's literally like the sound of sandpaper scratching like the worst noise you've ever said, but like you just put up with it. Like, why? Like,
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to be with that guy. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be with either of them. I'm gonna just take
Right.
Charlie and be like, deuces, we're going somewhere,
Yeah. We're moving the hell out of Detroit.
right? We're gonna get some good tropical weather. See you later.
So once Christmas happens again, like this is the one thing where I like really, if I could change anything about this movie, it would absolutely be this scene where uh him and Charlie, like, they're supposed to say goodbye, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I'm taking Charlie with me to go deliver presents, and the mom doesn't know it, and he basically kidnaps his own son.
Yeah.
Now, as someone who has had this happen to him, okay, in case I can't remember if I told this story on the show at all, but when I was younger, my mom essentially kidnapped me and moved to Colorado, and my dad didn't know. He came to pick me up
Oh.
one weekend, and when he got to the house was completely empty.
Oh
And
shit.
I was in kindergarten, and I was just like, "Cool, let's go to Colorado."
Right.
Um, you know, and this kid is oblivious to this fact. I get it. I was there. This is a really big foul on like Tim Allen's part when he's like struggling with custody and all these other things. You think that he would be smart enough to be like, "Hey, listen, buddy, I know you want to go, but this is not the right time. Like, you can deal with that. You'll be fine without me for 12 hours.
Yeah. No,
Let me go do this."
I definitely get what you're saying. But you can definitely, it's definitely like the movie perspective of him being like, oh, last year my kid was practically begging his mom to pick him up as soon as sunrise happened. And now he's like, Dad, I don't want you to leave. I want to hang out with you. Fuck Neil. Mom can suck it. Bernard's
Yeah.
super cool. Let's go to the North Pole. So it's that devil's advocate of like, should he have done it? Absolutely not. Because you're just like 100% breaking custody battles, and now the cops are out after you dressed as Santa Claus, and everyone thinks
Right.
you're crazy.
But then we get this really cool interrogation scene, which is really kind of sweet and charming. And he's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Santa Claus."
Coco
Chris
Noel.
Kringle.
Yeah.
And then we get our special ops elves, and I need a woman's perspective on this, and I need to know if the lead special op elf, if he had all that swag, because he seemed cool as shit.
Dude, that kid had some riz for sure.
Yeah, he did.
Dude,
Hey, baby, don't you worry about it. I got you.
You know that this kid, like, for years was like, hey, that was me. You think that's cool? Like, can you imagine
yeah.
he's like a teenager, maybe early 20s, and was like, yeah, I was in the Santa Claus movie. I was that really sick elf with attitude.
Oh, let's see.
I love it. I would totally be that guy. I'd be like, yeah, what's up?
I don't think he ever acted again.
Damn. He said one and done.
Yeah. Wow.
He knew it was up.
Yeah, and then after that, like this was literally like just a sprint to the finish after this point. Like, we saved Santa, and then it's just like, we gotta go. It's like, here you go, Mom. Here's your dating game that you wanted. Neil, here's your weenie whistle. And then we gotta go.
Right?
And they all lived happily ever after.
You know what's crazy is there was a bunch of like kids and parents standing there and cops, and they all definitely saw Santa Claus with flying reindeer zipping over them. And like that's the whole thing of like why Neil and Laura, is that her name? Yeah. Why they were like, no, we don't believe in Santa because we're adults, and adults lose the whole like magic of it all, and blah blah blah. Yeah, what happened to those parents? Do you think that they just went home, probably drank a little bit, and was like, I'm never gonna recover mentally from this? What did I just see? Or did they like go to sleep and then did the same thing that like Scott did the next morning of like, yo, that was a crazy dream. And their kids are over there like, no, we fucking saw this shit. And they're like, no, 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 no. Shared delusions. It's cool, kids. Go to bed. Because that's crazy to me. But yeah, no, I definitely pointed out like a bunch of the elves to Chris, and I was like, look, there they are. They're doing their thing. But it's interesting that you like bring that perspective of like, oh, it's because they were scoping out Scott Calvin, when really I was like, what if they're just part of like, they all just kind of go throughout the world and they just kind of like look around to be like, yo, that little kid should be on the naughty list. He is such a little POS. Get him out of here. Cull all the years. But I like that thinking better. That it's just like, they're like, oh, there he is. Let's go get him. Let's make sure he kicks that Santa off the roof.
Yeah.
He's going to go up there in Mortal Kombat Santa. Yeah. All in all, good Christmas movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I need to have the kids watch it.
It definitely holds up.
So.
Have your kids watched this movie before?
I don't think so.
Oh my god.
Listen, I've gotten into it with both the kids because I'm like, oh man, you should like watch this movie with me. And like, I don't really do movies. I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? And Alice is like, oh yeah, I like to watch TV shows. I will binge watch a TV show. And I'm like,
but she loves musicals. What?
For 90 minutes, you could like spend a fraction of the time and get a complete story and then go watch your shows. She's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, okay.
Bro, that's insane to me. But it's... Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
I'm going to have to ask your kids what their favorite Christmas movie is, and they're going to be like, the Paw Patrol special, or...
No, not even that.
God.
There's no telling what in the world they'll say.
Oh my gosh. Have they seen the Jim Carrey Grinch?
I don't know.
Oh my god. It stresses me out. That's another one that I'm like, every single year. It's my favorite.
Really?
I love watching it. Mark, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie? I'm not going to say Die Hard.
Thank you.
Man, you might have to come back to me on that one.
Brother.
So, the only one that kind of like really pops out in my brain is like
we're going strong.
I really like the Mickey Christmas Carol.
The first one? Yeah.
Yeah, the one from like the completely animated one
90s?
like from I think it's the was it the 90s? I thought it was like early 80s.
Maybe it was the 80s. I actually looked it up not that long ago because I was like, when was this? Because I loved that one as a kid too. I watched it every year.
Yeah, it's the one with Scrooge McDuck and Mickey plays Bob Cratchit. Yeah, 1983.
Dang,
is that right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think that one. And if I had to pick another one, I guess it might be A Muppets Christmas Carol.
Okay.
Not to, I realize, like,
no.
literally,
No, like, I get it. That is a very iconic, especially of, like, the Christmas carols, because, like, there's been so many versions of it and stuff like that, but that one is like very much something that is widely known. And I don't
Right.
blame you
And
because like I do uncomfortably watch it and I'm like, but like it's iconic. On God.
yeah, and like I like A Christmas Story, um, and I do kind of enjoy like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That
It's
one's my
fine.
favorite.
So, and I guess maybe I need to watch it again because I haven't seen it in so long. But I've never been one of them guys where I'm just like, oh yes, like uh, I'm not one of these people who's like I have to base my entire identity around the National Lampoon movies, you know. So yeah,
That's fair. Honestly, I've seen like a few of the National Lampoons, but like I didn't care for like any of the other ones. But Christmas Vacation is 100% like that was always the movie we would watch first in when I was growing up because it was my favorite. And I was like, this is what we're doing. I'm just gonna have to bring a bunch of Christmas movies over your way and be like, look, you're coming over. We're sitting on this freaking couch, and we're all gonna watch all these weird Christmas movies that you're like, I've never seen these. Let's watch Deck the Halls with Danny DeVito. We're gonna watch Christmas with the Cranks with Jamie Lee Curtis and Tim Allen, and you're gonna like it.
all right.
Be fun.
Well, cool. All right. Let's move on to our next segment where we talk about the things that made us happy this week. And Raven, why don't you go ahead and tell us what made you happy this week?
Hmm. Uh, that's really messed up that I'm like, I don't know what the fuck made me happy this week. It's been, I'm ready for next week to be over so I can have my week off because I'm very much like, ooh, I'm so tired of the amount of grooming that I'm doing right now. Work got me a little stressy spaghettied. But, I cleaned Kavik up today. He looks nice and handsome, which I literally was like, Chris, when was the last time I did Kavik? Because he was not in good condition. And as a dog groomer and a dog parent, it makes me feel a little sad. But he looks so handsome now, and that's nice. And I got to spend the weekend with Chris, just the two of us hanging out and doing things, which we haven't gotten to do in a while because we've been so stinking busy with like either like we have stuff that we've been doing for like our wedding planning and having to go run around and do stuff or like friends and family coming to stay with us. So it was really nice just to have like a little time where we finished up our Christmas shopping, got everything all wrapped. Everything's holly jolly here at our little end, and it's just nice for us to watch little Christmas movies and cuddle up on the couch and be like, "Oh, here we go. It's coming. It's gonna be a fun time." But yeah, that's I guess what has made me happy this week. What about you, Mark?
Uh, Two things. First, Alice got her license on Tuesday.
Whoop whoop.
And while I am extremely happy that she got her license, I've never been more on the edge consistently in my entire life. Like I am for sure going to get more gray hairs out of this situation
That's so
than
fair.
anything else. You know, it's just having my first child just driving in a big metal machine. It kind of is what it is. So I guess this is the curse of being a parent. Talking to some of my friends at work, they're like, "Yeah, you're never gonna get over that." I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Now I get to live with this forever."
Right. And then at some point, Amy will do the same thing, and you'll be like, "Oh God, there's two of them now."
Right.
Nice. That's cool. Good for her.
So, the second thing is last night I went to what I will affectionately refer to as my office holiday party. And by that I mean the group of guys that I work with. My boss literally lives in the same subdivision I do. So
Oh, nice.
he throws a party every year, and we all pile into his house and get drunk and have a good time and eat food, and just it is the best.
Oh,
And
yeah.
last night was no exception. I got to like kind of let my hair down a little bit, get a nice, really good buzz on, and walk home. And it was super fun just to hang out with a bunch of dudes that I hang out with every day anyway.
Yeah,
And
but
we're
you
all
get
friends
to
with,
be a little drunk with them. That's even more fun. That's the
right.
best part.
It was super fun. Like we had us an absolute blast, and I got to like really hang out with and talk to some of the newer guys that I haven't talked to yet, and they're super awesome. Like there's one dude, I don't know if he knows it yet, but he might be my best friend now. Um
You looked at him,
uh
stepbrothers, and was like, "Did we just become best friends?"
it was really close to that. Like we
Nice.
got to talking about some nerd stuff, and I was like, I said something about collecting old VHS tapes when I was a kid to be like, oh yeah, this is how we got anime from one friend to another. And he was like, yes. He had that look on his face like, you're my people. So,
Nice.
yeah, it was super fun, man. Like literally the most fun I've had in such a long time because especially last weekend, I was so busy and just everything else. And this weekend, I've not been quite as busy, and it just kind of culminated in last night. And surprisingly, I went over there, got a really good buzz on, like right on the verge of being drunk, fully drunk. And I got home, I took a shower. Alice and Amy showed up. Alice coming back from her play, she scooped up Amy on the way home, and they got here at like
Whoa.
11 o'clock. They went to bed. I crawled into bed, and I had to wake up early because I had to go play drums at church this morning. And I was like, God, I am going to be so miserable. I woke up fresh as a daisy. I
Oof.
woke up feeling better than I think I felt in months.
Nice.
And I don't even know how. I don't even know how. It must have been them Gatorades I was drinking at the party, because there was a
Probably.
point. There was a point when I was like, "Oh man, I know that if I continue to drink beers, I'm going to be drunk, and I don't want to be drunk because I got like a belly full of food, and I can just tell that beer is just expanding my whole gut." I was like, "I'm going to drink some Gatorade." So they had like the little balls of Gatorade, and I drank one of those, and I was like, that was delicious. I'm going to have another one. So I did that, and it was even delicious too. Had my first White Claw last night.
Congrats, I guess.
I'm not
Gross.
sure how I feel about it.
I hate
It
seltzers.
it definitely was like drinking TV static,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I might have to run a separate experiment and see like
Just
see
drink
what it's
one
like.
by itself when you haven't had other drinks.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was already like had a good buzz going when I drank that. But my problem with beer, and I like beer, but if I start drinking beer, then I get all bloated, and I don't
Oh,
like that
yeah.
feeling. And then my other alternative is like mixed drinks, like Crown and Coke, and like that's my go-to mixed drink is Crown and Coke. And then we're dealing with liquor, and then that's a
Yeah.
whole different animal. And if I could just drink like some seltzer water with some booze in it, and then I could get drunk but not be all bloated and stuff, you know,
But they don't
drink me about
taste.
6, 7, 8 of those.
Damn.
So,
Mark be out here.
and then walk around
Tart.
and then get some UGG boots.
Hey, girls. What's up? It's me and
Yeah.
my seltzer water in my UGG boots. Me and Rebecca
Hey.
are going to this party later tonight. If anyone wants to come, I'll share the updates on my Snapchat. Okay, I love you. Bye. That's the new Mark. That's holiday Mark.
Well, you just get ready.
Hey, I'm
Uh,
here for it.
everybody follow us on social networks. Because New Year's coming up. I am working on a video series that I'm going to post to the page, and already I'm regretting my decision for that. Because I'm already trying to watch movies and cut up videos so I can get ahead of the game for the movie review a day challenge. And I am about 4 or 5 episodes in of like watching movies and cutting up videos and recording videos and stuff. And oh boy, this is a dang old thing. So yeah, if you want to see that train wreck happen in about 2 weeks, follow us on social medias at Nerd for No Reason on Blue Sky, Instagram. We're Nerd for No Reason on Facebook. Did I forget anything? We're pretty much not on Twitter anymore, so just scrap that. Like, the page is still active.
No Twitter, no TikToks.
Yeah, we're not there. No, actually, we got TikTok back.
Oh, never mind. Yes to the TikToks.
So I don't know what happened, but I went and I was like, you know what? Let me try to log in and see what happens. And then I tried to log in, and it was like, hey, that account doesn't exist. And I was like, really? So I signed back up for at Nerd for No Reason on TikTok and got it.
Oh.
So we're back on TikTok, baby.
Nice. Very nice.
So I'm going to post stuff there too.
All right, do it. Get on it.
Until I get kicked off again.
Don't say that. You can stay there forever. You can live there if you want to.
Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And Blue Sky. So just get ready. I'm going to get kicked off of one of them.
And YouTube.
Yes, and YouTube.
Don't forget
Holy crap,
the tube.
Forgot about YouTube. So, Raven, where can they find you?
I live on Instagram at That's So Raven Ellis. That's it. That's all I do anymore. I'm sorry. I'm boring now. Marcus Turtles do it.
Yep.
That's just him. That's his new name. Hey, Turtles do it. Did you send me that report? I need it stat. I got a PTA meeting in the morning, and I gotta have it. Thanks, Turtles do it.
And scene.
I think I just won an Emmy. I don't think that's what I meant. Is that the music thing? I don't know.
No.
I won an Oscar. Thank you.
Yes.
Jesus.
I won one of them awards.
I won a streamy, a shorty, Epcot,
a video game award.
The Disney Award for stupidity, and Mark's favorite award, the Nerdies.
The Nerdies. Oh, man. You know what? We might have to record that next week when you're actually here.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. I'll bring my little mini micro recorder, and we'll set up some kind of janky way for us both to record.
Perf.
Yes. And then we could just we can do it at my dad's house. We can bring in my dad onto the show.
Jeez. Your dad's going to be like, I ain't about to do
I don't know.
I gotta go
what's
out
your favorite
there,
movie?
I gotta check on the meats on the grill. All right, go ahead,
I
Daddy.
really like Twin Peaks.
That's all he's gonna say. Okay, perfect. Love that.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I love you guys. I say this all the time, but we're coming up on the end of 2024, and it's been such a fantastic year. Filled with ups and downs and scares and trolls and everything else. And it's just been super fun. I love it every year. We've been doing this 2 years now, and this is my weekly dose of sanity talking to Raven. And Raven, I'm so glad you're here. I love y'all. I love all y'all. Go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go find the holliest, jolliest medias around, and we'll see you again next week on the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Ho, ho, ho.
Goodbye, everybody.
And good night.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. You can find us on all major social media platforms at Nerd for No Reason. Our podcast music is Memories in 8-Bit by Deanna Joan, aka Fergie's Human. You can follow her on Twitter at Deanna Joan Music and check out her other social media links in the show notes of our podcast.